This year's World Economic Forum is meeting under the theme Cooperation in a Fragmented World. UK headquartered NCC Group is an industry leader in cybersecurity and escrow services, and they say that cooperation is key to staying ahead of adversaries and threats. I'm Rosanna Lockwood, and I'm in Davos, where I sat down with NCC Group's CEO to find out how they're putting this into practice. Mike Madison, CEO of NCC Group. It's fantastic to have you here with us in beautiful Davos, Switzerland.
Thank you very much.
What does it feel like coming over from the UK, being in Europe, talking about your company?
It's really exciting, and it's the first time in Davos, and apart from the weather, it's really, really good.
Yeah, sorry about that. When we arrived a week ago, it was sunny, but at least you've got snow this time, which is a nice thing. Now, cybersecurity, this is the kind of the realm that you're operating in. We want to have a discussion about the threat landscape, about what's going on in the world, where your business fits in. But first of all, just for the uninitiated, give us a sense of what NCC Group actually does.
So NCC Group is a provider of cybersecurity services globally. We help our clients with the end-to-end issue of cyber risks, whether that's from a consulting perspective, whether it's from the design, implement or operate of their security environment. Because I think we recognise that our C-suite clients have concerns, they need confidence, and we're able to help them with that.
I just want to get a sense of what NCC Group looks like as an international company. You've mentioned that international presence. Where are you based, and sort of what size are you?
So we are a £300 million FTSE 250 listed technology company. We are headquartered in Manchester, so we do have a North of England footprint, but our business is based around North America, a significant footprint in obviously the UK and Western Europe, and also in Asia Pac. So we do have a considerable global footprint and global presence, which is why we service so many international clients.
Okay, it sounds straightforward enough. Talk to us about the formation of the company. I always find this interesting in the cybersecurity space because it's a fairly, some would say nascent, some would say established sort of industry. It's quite a crowded landscape. So what was the origin of NCC?
Well, it's fascinating. I've been in the security industry for far too long to mention. And NCC, quite unusually, has a very long pedigree. It actually started way back in the 60s as part of the UK government's initiative into the new computer landscape. So it has evolved throughout the entire history of this technology, IT, security challenges, and cybersecurity is obviously the latest iteration of that. So we've got a very long and quite established pedigree around cybersecurity, and as a result, we work very closely with our public sector and government clients on a lot of the policy side of things. So it's a very dynamic, highly innovative, and passionate about our purpose.
I'm just want to talk a bit more about that sort of threat level and the landscape that you've seen. You've mentioned you've been in the security industry for longer than you care to remember. But what have you seen evolving during that time?
I think the main observation I'd have about cybersecurity or information security and any of the sort of the technology-related risks is historically it was very much a technical domain, and it was a concern of the technical functions. What I think we've seen as digitalization has become ubiquitous, it's in every aspect of our lives, the risk and the threat has obviously increased, and therefore the concern of, if you like, the C-suite, senior executives, governments has equally focused on cybersecurity. So we're seeing that our engagement has moved from very much a technical focus to actually how do we solve a fundamental business risk, which is arguably the defining risk of the digital age, which is cybersecurity.
So you've given us a really good overview of the origins of NCC Group and the types of work you're doing out there, you're offering, but I'm interested to know, almost from the client offering perspective, how you're marking yourselves out differently. Cyber is obviously quite a crowded landscape. So what is NCC Group doing that's really sort of pushing it ahead?
It's a great question. I think by the nature of its pedigree, NCC Group has a breadth and depth of skills, which is really quite unique in the marketplace. And as I say, I've been in this industry a long time, and it really is quite fundamental to our success and the passion of our individuals that we've got within the organisation. But what I think we're able to bring to clients, which is really very different, is probably around our ability to provide insights from our global client footprint and our global operations. We're able to bring the intelligence that we see from working with organisations and what about the threat, and we invest very heavily in understanding those perspectives. And we have a phenomenal research team who work very closely with a number of agencies to identify really insightful components to that intelligence. And the final piece is innovation. We've got great people who are really involved in their domains, who are able to bring great capabilities to clients and work with clients to actually find solutions to their problems.
You've given us a sense of this sort of evolving threat landscape you've seen throughout your career to date, and obviously the future could hold sort of limitless potential in terms of threats, hence why companies like yours exist. But when it comes to dealing with threats, talk to us about what you've noted in the way that governments, public sectors, society sort of work together to confront those threats. Are you reassured by what you see?
I mean, this is a fascinating area, and I think the way you phrased that is absolutely spot on. It is a whole of society response. Technology is ubiquitous now. These issues affect everybody, whether it's in a professional environment, whether it's in their domestic environment, whether it's the government and how they outreach to their citizens. So it is absolutely fundamental that any response to cyber risks and cyber threat encompasses all of those domains. And we work very closely with policymakers, legislators to actually look at how they bring all of those components together. I'm very proud, for example, how we almost convene a number of those parties to actually bring the very best of the thinking to actually provide that input.
I'm glad you brought up cooperation, because we're sitting here in lovely Davos, Switzerland, where the World Economic Forum takes place on an annual basis this year. World leaders meeting under the theme Cooperation in a Fragmented World, trying to address global issues, these global leaders coming together to stop what they're calling a decade of inactivity. So looking ahead to a decade, the next decade potentially, in cybersecurity, what do you think is going to lead the charge in terms of the work that you do at NCC Group? Are you most guided by what's happening in the threat landscape, or is it more to do with the innovation side?
It's both. I think you can't decouple the two. So the changing risks and threats organisations, the public sector, citizens face around this topic mean that there is such a pace of change. Technology is also driving change. There needs to be a degree of cooperation just to be able to tackle that. By the nature of the threat, which again is international, whether it's nation state, geopolitical driven, or whether it's criminals, they operate internationally. So you have to be able to cooperate across border. What we are very keen to see, and I think the evidence suggests there has been a far greater degree of cooperation now than ever before between the governments around this as a topic, and I think we're very keen to see that continue. And certainly if you then take that to the private sector, because of hugely complex ecosystems, supply chains, they need that degree of cooperation as well. And we work very closely with clients trying to understand the implications throughout their very broad ecosystem. So I think that cooperation is absolutely fundamental, and I think the trajectory is very good.
On the client side, I know it's difficult because you work with such a huge range of clients, but if you could sort of talk about some of the biggest oversights people make when it comes to cybersecurity, at board level, what should they be considering?
So that's a very tricky question. So I would always start with actually doing the fundamentals right. Many organisations are large, complex. I mentioned their ecosystem, their supply chains. Actually getting a handle on the extent to which they face cyber risk and addressing it. That's one of the first fundamental steps. The second is being able to get the right skill sets and the right insights to be able to address the technical challenges that they face. And we all know there is a huge lack of the skills in the marketplace to be able to do that.
Are you reassured by the talent that's out there in the locations that you operate in, that you can find the right type of talent to keep evolving with the evolving threat landscape?
There is a significant lack of talent in the marketplace. And we've been talking about this for years. One of the things I'm very, very proud of NCC being able to do is actually to take and nurture the talent to build it, which has been hugely successful for us. So I'm confident, I'm a glass half full sort of individual, so I'm very confident that we can get the talent, but I think investing is fundamental to that. So the talent is there, the talent is definitely available, but we have to look at it in a slightly different way to maybe how we've done it before. So we have to consider the diversity and inclusion component of that, and I think that looking far broader than where we have done traditionally, I think is going to be fundamental. In neurodiversity, we've invested significantly in individuals to be able to play a very full role in delivering services to our clients.
Really interesting to get your insights across not only the way your company operates, but the way that the cybersecurity landscape is evolving, and also how your sector is evolving with it. It's been great talking to you here in Davos, Switzerland. Mike Madison, CEO of NCC Group. Thank you.
Thank you very much.